Tim from Digital FX here. This is part 2 of the video. I'm talking to you about RIP update. I talked to you in the previous email about we can get the RIP to automatically put white behind a logo where we don't see a physical white in the logo. So this logo here on the left has no white areas of the logo, so visual white areas of the logo, and so this would actually work easily. Now the logo on the right, in previous video I told you it wouldn't work because there's a visible white in this logo. The word speed is white, and so I was telling you in the last video that that wouldn't work. So that is the case. However, there is a little trick we can apply to make this work. So what the RIP does, it wants to know the difference between CMYK and white areas. So obviously if we click on a blue section of this logo and we look at our color palette up here, it's showing us that that particular blue is made up out of 100% cyan. If we look at the orange, for instance, it's showing us that there's 4% cyan, 56% magenta, 100 yellow, and a little bit of black in there as well. So that color is made up out of full color. So when we take this file over to the RIP needs to know where there's color. The problem, and the reason it has a problem with the white channel, is if we click on that white channel, what happens is that our CMYK values are 0, 0, 0, and 0. And because these values are 0, 0, 0, 0, what that means is the RIP can't see that there's anything there, so it actually thinks there's nothing there. So when we go and tell the RIP that we want it to put white behind the colors, it's only going to put it behind the colors that it can physically see. So when it comes to the white, it can't see any colors because it actually sees white as 0. So when we go and try and put this PDF across as a PDF, it doesn't see the white, so it won't put white behind white because it doesn't think it's there. So there is a little trick we can do. So all we need to do is trick the RIP and tell it and try and get it to understand that there is actually color there. So what we can do is we can click on the white areas here, and what we can actually do is put a small value of a couple of the colors behind it. So if we put 1% of yellow, for instance, 1% of cyan behind that color, it still looks 100%, it still looks white, and the printer will not pick up, you will not see 1% of cyan and 1% of yellow. It's such a small amount and they're very light colors that you won't actually see it, but the RIP still thinks there's color in it, because if I click on that color now, it's got 1 and 1, so it will then actually put white behind that area. So this is a way we can actually make this logo still work, by tricking the RIP and telling it that this white has in fact got a little bit of color, but we know that 1% of cyan and 1% of yellow will actually not even register. It's too small of a color gamut for the printer to print. So this is one little trick we can do to make this work still from the previous video. So you can try this as well by putting a small percentage of color where there is white. Everything else can be followed as per the previous video.